Hello everyone, welcome back to our complete Python course. In the previous episode, we learned about loops and how they help us to repeat tasks effectively e- e- using for and while loops. We also learned about the nested loops, and many other things. Today, we'll learn about functions, one of the most important concepts of Python programming. Imagine, imagine you have to make tea every morning. Instead of remembering in every step ep- each time, you simply follow the same recipe. In programming, a function works like that recipe. It groups a set of instructions together and let you use them whenever you need it. By the end of this lesson, you will know how to create your own functions, pass information to them, return values, and write clear, more organized programs. So, let's get started. So, our today's objectives are understand functions, create and self functions, and parameters and arguments, return statement, variable scope, lambda function, and some mini projects. So, what do you think? What the function is? A function is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. A function is a reusable block. Function is nothing but a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. You can use that block at the time of need. Instead of writing the same code again and again, we write it once, once inside a function and call it whenever we needed it. So, what are the advantages of the functions? Reduce code duplications, m- make makes programs easier to read, improves code organization, makes debugging and maintenance easy. The By making function, the code also takes less space and it is easier to maintain. So let's create our first function. First, let me open VS Code. Control S, named as this functions.py. So the syntax is very simple. First, we will write def, and def means definition or a function name. Then we will write function, function name, and then a block of code. It is as simple as you can see. Here, definition is a keyword used to define a function, right? Like we can also write like this: def grwt create, then semicolons, print hello, welcome to Python. And now I can, if I want to call this function, I'll just like simply write its name greet and brackets. The function has been called. Let's see what the interpreter will give. Hello, welcome to Python. Here, def is a keyword used to define a function. Greet is the function name. The code inside the function is indented, and the function runs only when it is called using greet. Whenever you want to call that function, and you you will just write the function name and the function will be called. Just like I want to write hello, oh, welcome to the Python as many times I want. So I can write it like this: greet bracket, greet bracket C, as many times as you can call this function. So why we use functions? Functions code reusability. A function uses a block of code that we can reuse many times as we need. Better readability, easy debugging, molar programming. So better readability because you are just defining that code, that function for only one time. So it is easier to read it. While debugging, and when you write the function, and if there are bugs in that function, you can easily debug it. But if you are writing a code and writing that bug many times, then it is a here's a function syntax that I said. It def is a defining is a keyword to define a function, and then function name, then code, then a block of code, and then you are calling this function by its name. As we have seen this def greet here, and def is a keyword used to define a function, and greet is a function name, and the code inside a function is indented. It it and gr- then this greet, the function runs only when this greet is the using greet, when this function is called. So, functions parameters. What are function parameters? Functions can receive information and it's called parameters. Parameters receive values when a function is called. For example, we can see in our code that greet, then name, then hello, name. Now, greet, Alice, here, the name of the parameter, name is a parameter and the Alice is the argument passed by into the function. Functions, parameters, and arguments. An argument is the actual value passed to the function and when it is called. So let's see what the output we are getting. It's hello, then name. Why it is coming name here? I'm so sorry, guys. Here it will become a name. Sorry. Now you can see we are getting our hello Alice as the Alice is a argument passed by the parameter and name is the parameter where the value Alice is assigned to the parameter name him and the function prints the greeting. Arguments are of three main types: positional arguments, keyword argument, and default arguments. Multiple parameters. So, multiple parameters are the this functions and takes two numbers and prints their sum. Multiple parameters. A function can uh, accept more than one parameter, or this allows us to pass multiple pieces of information and to the function, making it more flexible and useful. For example, we can, if we want to calculate the sum of two numbers, else we need to pass two values to the function. Its, its syntax is as simple as you can see here. after the name of the function, and you will be writing a second parameter. First parameter receives the first value, and the parameter 2 receives the second value. So we can have an example: add a comma b. Sorry. Print sum equals to a plus b. Now add 10 comma 30. So let's see what output we are getting by this code. We are getting 40, as 10 plus 30 is equals to 40. Here a and b are two different parameters, and 10 and 20 are their arguments passed. The function receives both values and prints their function, their sum. For example, def student name as age, print name as the age name, then print age, age, student, student Alice, and then 20. So you can see we are getting name as Alice and age as 20. This is because the function accepts two pieces of information, name and age. It, it then displays both values. Let's take one more example. Def rectangle underscore area. Rectangle area is our function name, and length, sorry, width is our parameter. Area equals to length into width. Width. Then print area as area. Then we will be calling this function again by writing the arguments rectangle underscore area and writing the arguments as 10 comma 5. As you can see, 10 into 5 is our 10 into 5 is equals to 50. So the function receives the rectangle's length and width, calculates the area and print the result. As the length and width are the parameters and after uh, recalling uh, after calling the function we are writing 10 and 5, which are the arguments. We can go with one more example. Define, create, and then last name. Sorry. Name, print, welcome, first name, and then last name. Greet, J, H, and John, and D. Smith. Let's see what will be our result. Welcome, John and Smith. Welcome, John Smith. The numbers in the arguments passes while calling the functions must match the number of parameters in the function definition. So this is the rule of the parameter and argument, that the number of arguments passing while calling the function must match the number of parameters in the function. So if I'll be not giving this name Smith, so let's see what happened. It is directly giving me the error, type error, that we have missed our one required positional argument as last name. This will produce a type error because the function expects two arguments but only one was given. Imagine you are booking a flight. The booking in form asks for passenger name, age, and destination. These are like parameters. When you fill in details, those values become the arguments passed to. the booking system. Similarly, a Python function can receive if multiple values to complete a specific task. There are some important key points. A function can, can have one, multiple, or no parameters. Multiple parameters are separated by commas. The number of arguments should match the number of parameters, as I said. Using multiple parameters makes functions more powerful and reusable. Think of a function as a form. Each parameter is a blank filled field on the form, and each argument is the information and fill into those fields when you submit the form. So, parameters versus argument. Declare the parameter declares the function's definition, and argument passed when the function is called. Parameters acts as a placeholder, and argument provides an actual value to the parameters. Parameters receives data, and argument sends data to the function. So here come returns statement. The return statement sends a value back to the caller. The return statement is used to send values back from a function and to the place where the function is called. Unlike print, which only displays the output on the screen, return and gives the result back so it can and be stored in a variable will used in another calculation or passed to another functions. Why do we use return? Sometimes we don't just want to display a result, we want to use a later in our program. The return statement make this possible. So the syntax is very simple for return statement. First, we will be writing our function, then function name as this return value. So let's see what happened. Sorry. We will be giving the function name as add and parameters as a and b, then return an a plus b result equals to by calling the function add 10 comma 20, print result. Here is syntax error, return. So when we add 10 plus 20, then it is equals to 30, and we can see function is formed. The function add receives two values. Use, use it calculates its their sum using a plus b. The return statement sends the result back. The returned value is stored in the variable result. Finally, print int result displays the output as 30. We can have one more example of returning the square of the number, defining the function, naming the function as square number, return number as number, then answer as square 5. Print answer. Here we have written four semicolons, so we will be removing one, and the output is 25. The function calculates the square of the number and returns it. The returned value is stored in a variable as a answer 25. We can take one more example, returning a string. Def read name return as hello plus name. Then giving the variable name as message equals to greet ls print message. So here you can see that we are getting hello ls, a functions a function that can return and not only the numbers but also strings, lists, tuple, dictionaries, and other objects. So now, what is the difference between print and return? Print function displays the output on the screen, whereas return statement sends the a value back to the caller. Print statement cannot be reused in another calculations. Return statement can be used in a variable and it is a and reusable. Print statement mainly used for displaying information. Return statement mainly used for or producing and passing results. Imagine a imagine you are ordering a food from a restaurant. The function and as the chef preparing the meal till the are the parameters and the finished meal is the returned value. The chef does not just show oh, you the meal, he returns it to you so you can enjoy it. Similarly, the return statement sends the result back to the part of the eh, program that called the functions. There are some key points, important key points. The return statements ends the functions immediately. It sends a value back to the functions call. The returned value can be stored in a variable. A function can return a different type of data, such as number, string, list, or tuples. After a return statement is executed, the remaining code inside the function is not executed. Print shows the result to the user, but return gives the result back to the program so it can be used later. We can have one more example. Def multiply a comma b, the parameters a comma b, and then returning return a into b. Result is equals to multiply 6 comma 7. The arguments are 6 and 7. Return multiply, no, sorry, print the p- product is result. Here the function returns 42. Here's the function returns 42, which is stored in the a variable result and then printed. This demonstrates why return is more flexible than print. Here are some examples of square that we have done. Local variables. Local variables create a A local variable is a variable that is created inside a function, and it can only be exist is within that function, and it when the function is finishes executing. In simple words, a local variable belongs only to a function in which it is created. Sim- Syntax. Here is the syntax. Def, then function name variable name equals to value. As you can see, the syntax is much more easier, and we can also write some exam. We can also take some examples for more understanding. Def greet message as welcome to Python. Sorry. Welcome to Python, and then print a message. As you can see, welcome to Python. Our output is welcome to Python. The message is created inside a greet function, and it is called as a local variable because it exists only inside a function. Inside that function, the variable can be used only while the function and is running. We have some more examples. Def add num1 equals to 10, num2 is equals to 20, then print from equals to num1 plus num2 Then by calling the function add, the sum is equals to 30. Here, the num1 and num2 are local variables. They are available inside it, only inside add function, and outside the functions these variables do not exist. We have one more example on ascending in a, a local variable outside the function. Def dem as x equals to 100, then print x dem print x. Hmm. Here, here we got name error as name him x does not it is not defined because s x is a only inside a demo function. Inside the function x exists is and is printed after the function finishes x is dist- destroyed. Typing to Trying to use x outside the function causes the name error because it is out of the scope. Imagine a classroom, a teacher gives each student a worksheet to solve during class. Thus, the worksheet belongs only to that student and cannot be used by the student in another class. Similarly, a local variable belongs only to its functions. Other functions cannot access it. Key points. A local variable is declared inside a function. It can be exist only within that function. It is created when the function starts and destroyed when the function ends. Trying to access a local variable outside its function and result as name error. A local variable is a like a student and sitting in one classroom. It can only work inside that classroom, the function. Once the class ends, the student leaves if and other classrooms cannot access that student. So here comes our global variables. A global variables is a variable that is declared outside any function, unlike a local variable. Well, a global variable can be exist by all functions in the program. In simple words, a global variable is shared throughout the program. Syntax. Message is equals to welcome to Python, and then def greet, print, message, and calling the function by its name greet. Here, message is created outside the function, therefore it is a global variable. The function greet can access is a print and print it using a global variable in a multiple function. So course equals to Python ROGA programming def student 1 print student 1 is learning course course. Course define student 2 student 2 is learning course. Now we will be calling our both functions. To So student one is like learning Python programming, and student two is also learning is a Python programming course. Course is a global variable. Here, course is a global variable, and both student one and student two can access is the same variable. Well, this avoids creating a same variable in multiple functions, and modifying a global variable to change local variable versus global variable. Local variable declared inside a function, global variable declared outside all the functions, accessible only within that function, accessible throughout the program. Local variable exists and only while the function is running. Global variables exist until the program finishes. Imagine a school. A local variable is like a notebook that belongs to one student, only that student can use it. A global variable is like a school notice board that students can, and that every student and every teacher can read the information on it. Similarly, a global variable is av- available to all functions in a program. A global variable is declared outside the function and it can be accessed by all functions. To modify a global variable inside a function, use a global keyword. Use global variable carefully. Too many global variables can make a program difficult to un- understand and maintain. A local variable belongs to one function, and but a global variable belongs to the entire program. Here comes built-in functions. Python provides many predefined functions known as built-in functions. These functions are already available in Python, so you don't need to create them yourself. You can simply call them whenever you need it. Built-in function makes program easier by performing common tasks such as printing outside output, taking users input, filling, finding the length of data, determining data type, and much more. These are some types of built-in functions which are print, len, length means len means length, input, the input from the user which we get, type, that which type of data is it, and then range. User user defined user defined functions. Functions created by programmers using a def keyword. A user defined function is a function that created by the programmers to perform a specific task, unlike built-in functions which are already provided by the Python, and users define the functions are written by us according to our needs. For example, e- if you want to calculate the area of a rectangle or display a, a welcome message each multiple times, you can create your own function. A user-defined function is written by using a def keyword. Def keyword defines a function. Then we have lambda function. A lambda function is a small anonymous function in a Python. It is used to create simple functions in a single line without using a def keyword. It is called an anonymous functions because it does not t- need a function name. What is a lambda function? A lambda function is a short function that can have any number or of arguments, but only one expression. Here, lambda is an keyword used to create a lambda function and then argument input values, and then expression, a single statement used as a result automatically returned. We can have one example of a lambda function. Add equals to lambda a comma b, then a plus b. Print add 10 comma 20. So you can see our output is 30. Here lambda a is equals to a plus b creates a function that adds two numbers uh, and 10 and 20 are passed as the arguments and the function returns 30. When should we use lambda function? Lambda functions are useful when you need a simple function and for a short period. The function contains only one expression. You want to write it concise code for larger or more complex logics. X use a normal function with def. There are some key points. A lambda function is an anonymous function. It is created using a lambda keyword. It can be taken multiple arguments. It contains only one expression, and the result of the expression is returned automatically. It is best suited for small and simple tasks. A normal function is like writing a complete letter or with a heading, body, and a signature. A lambda function is like sending a small text message. Is like it gets a job done and quickly within and forever word. This mini projects you can do by your own. Calculator using functions, BMI calculator using functions, a student result calculator, area calculator, and these are some common mistakes for forgetting to call the function, missing return, and wrong indentation, parameters mismatch. These are some practice questions. Find and square of a number, even odd checker, or fractional using in fractional using functions largest of three numbers. So in this lesson we have learned about the functions, make code reusable, learn parameters, arguments, return scope, and lambda functions. In the next episode we will be learning about string.